Hello there, and welcome to Diaspora Savings and Investments. My name is Shadrach, and in this video, I'll be telling you all you need to know about credit cards and how I managed to get my TV for free from my credit card. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back. So in this video, I'll be telling you all you need to know about credit cards, why you need one, and what type of credit card you should get. So first things first, what is a credit card? Well, a credit card is a card with credit on it. A credit is essentially money. It is different from a debit card, which is a card that holds the same amount of money that you have in the bank. Unlike a debit card, a credit card is like a loan that is being given to you by a credit card company or even the bank. So unlike a debit card where you spend the money that you have in the bank, in a case of a credit card, it is essentially you spending a pre-arranged money or a loan. And so you may pay an interest on the money that you spend. If that is the case, somebody may ask, why then do I need a credit card if I have a debit card? Well, there are three main reasons why I think you should get a credit card. First, if managed properly, a credit card can be a great way to build your credit score. And I've already recorded a whole video on how to build your credit score. If you've not seen it yet, I would put a link below in the comment section here. So if you get a good credit card or if you get a right credit card, it can help you build your credit score. And that can help you to get a good loan or even a low interest mortgage in the future. The second reason why I think you should get a credit card is because it can be a fantastic way to manage your finances. Depending on the kind of card you have, you may never have to pay an interest on it for a period of time. And so that could be an interest-free loan, essentially. Or it could actually be a way to spread costs of any purchase that you have over a period of time so that you're able to pay in bits. The third reason why you should get a credit card is because of the protection it offers. Under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act, whenever you purchase any item between £100 to £30,000 with your credit card, you are protected because the credit card company and the seller are jointly liable or they are jointly responsible. And so if anything goes wrong with the purchase, whether it is not delivered or it is delivered faulty, the credit card company is jointly liable, meaning they have a responsibility to refund your money. Let me illustrate with an example. Last 2 years, before the COVID happened, I had booked a flight to Ghana. And when the COVID happened, most flights were cancelled. Unfortunately for me, I booked my flight through a travel agent. I'm not going to name them. But when COVID happened, I tried to get a refund because most of the airlines were actually refunding people up to a point, and then they later on started giving the vouchers. But even when the airlines were refunding the money, people's monies to them, the travel agents were extremely hesitant to give me back my money. In fact, I contacted the airline for a refund and they asked me to go through the travel agents because they booked on my behalf. I went through to them, but they still gave me one story after another. In fact, I wrote several emails. I was on phone with them for hours and yet they wouldn't budge until I came across Section 75. And because I booked through my credit card, I simply reported to my credit card company and within minutes, the money was refunded. And this is money I had been chasing for over months. So you see, if you have a credit card, it mitigates against such events. So for these three reasons, I think these are good reasons why everyone should get a credit card. So finally, what type of credit card should you get? But before I go to that, you need to understand how credit cards work. Well, as I explained earlier, a credit card essentially is a card that contains a loan. And so you need to be wise about how you spend it. I know some people, once they get a credit card, sometimes because they did not have the information, they feel it's free money. Well, there is no free money anywhere, especially in this country. There is nothing like free money. I actually know a friend who got a credit card worth, I think about £7,000. And once he got a credit card with about £7,000, he had ideas. He bought phones for people, he gifted to people, and essentially he ran into lots of problems because of that. And so you need to understand that the credit card or the balance or the money on the credit card is not for you. It is a loan which you have to pay. And so you need to know how to use it. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you need to understand that With the credit limit that you've been given, you have usually up to a month to repay. And if you don't pay back within the month, it starts accruing an interest. Thirdly, the credit card companies expect you to pay a minimum amount. No matter what happens, you need to pay the minimum amount. And that is a way of telling the credit card company that you are committed to paying back the balance. So, for example, if you had a credit card with a limit of £1,000 and within the month you spend, say, £800 to buy something, and life happens, and so before the month ends, you do not have the money to pay everything. If not for anything, you should pay the minimum balance. That way they know that you are committed to paying. But if you don't pay the minimum balance, then it starts hurting your credit score. Or in fact, they may actually cancel on you and you lose everything. So you must definitely pay the minimum balance. But you need to remember that whatever that is outstanding on your credit card, an interest will be charged on it. So if you have all the money to pay at the end of the month, unless you have other plans with your money, you should pay. Because if not, you should be ready to pay an interest. Sometimes the interest rate can be high or it can be low. Sometimes it's zero, depending on the type of credit card you have. So you need to understand the card you have in order to know how to use it. Finally, although a credit card is a loan and it has money on it, it is actually not wise or it's actually not useful to go to an ATM to withdraw money from that unless your card allows you to. Because whenever you go to the ATM to withdraw money from your credit card, an interest is charged on it. And it's actually an act of desperation that you really need the money. And so it can also hurt your credit score. So definitely avoid it if it's possible. With all this said, why do I use my credit card anyway? I use my credit card because of the rewards that I get on it. And so next, I'm going to tell you about what type of credit card you should get. There are many types of credit cards, and the type which is good for you will depend on your circumstance or why you need a credit card. So first, I'll tell you about balance transfer cards. A balance transfer credit card is essentially a credit card for your credit card. So assuming that you have a credit card with a debt of about, say, 100 or £1,000, which you're unable to pay, or the interest on it is so high that it's hurting you, you can get a balance transfer credit card whereby you transfer the credit or the balance on your credit card onto that balance transfer credit card. Usually these balance transfer credit cards come with a very low interest rate or sometimes even 0% for maybe 2 years or 22 months. So essentially you transfer the balance on your credit card onto that balance transfer card and you don't pay any interest on it. In fact, I know somebody who had a credit card limit of £10,000. They bought their furniture on it because of the protection it offers. And then afterwards, they got a balance transfer credit card and transferred the money from their credit card onto the balance transfer credit card. And it gave them 0% interest rate for 22 months. So essentially, he could pay the furniture over 22 months, which is nearly 2 years, with no interest at all. I mean, you ain't getting this anywhere. So that was a smart move and that was wise. And so that's how he paid for his furniture within that period. But for these balance transfer credit cards, although they usually don't charge any interest for the first 22 months or say first 24 months, after that period, an interest rate is applied. So if you forget to pay or if you don't pay, after the 0% period, interest rates start to apply. And if you're not careful, you may run into debts again. So you must be committed to paying. So the second type of credit card I'll talk about is a credit builder credit card. That is essentially a credit card that helps build your credit score. And this is usually helpful for people who would otherwise not get a credit card. So these are, young people who've never taken out credit or a student who's never taken out credit. Because if you don't have a credit history, usually the credit card companies would also not give you a credit card. Well, it's counterintuitive anyway. But they would also not give you a credit card because they don't know whether you will pay or not. So there are these special cards, the credit builder credit cards, that help you to build your credit score, to have a history of credit. That way you are able to build build a good credit score. But these cards usually have a high interest rate, which is commensurate with the risk the credit card company is taking. So for these type of cards, because they are just to help you to build a credit score, you must be diligent in paying them. If not, you may run into serious debts. Of course, all other type of credit cards help build your credit score, but these are special ones that help, young people or people with very bad credit score, to rebuild their credits. The third type of credit card is the purchase credit card. And these are credit cards that come with an extremely low interest rate. They are for people who want to make large purchases, for example, but spread it over a long period of time. Remember, if you go for a credit card with a high interest rate, sometimes 29%, sometimes 22%. If you have your money in the bank, you're only earning, say, 0.1%. But these credit card companies are charging you nearly a quarter, and that is really high. So you can get a purchase credit card that usually comes with a very low interest rate, say 3% or 2.9%, that helps you pay over a long period of time at a very low interest rate. So that can be good, especially for people who wouldn't get, a loan from the bank at that rate. So you may need to compare, what your credit card is offering you compared to what your bank is offering you. I know a friend who bought a car, with a credit card because the credit card was offering him, I think, about 0 point something percent, per annum. So that was better than going for a bank loan that was going to charge about 6%. So you have to run the numbers and see what works for you. And now to the last type of credit card I'd like to talk to you about is the rewards or cashback credit cards. So these are credit cards that give you rewards or points for every time you spend. So these are for people who usually use their credit card on whether day-to-day basis or they have large purchases coming up. And these are meant to be incentives for you to keep using your credit card. Because, for example, if you spend up to £100, some credit card companies will give you £1. And so you are incentivized or you are motivated to keep spending. Of course, you need to be smart. If you follow these rewards, you may run into debt and you may not be able to pay back. So you need to, see whether it's worth it or not. But essentially, instead of using your debit card to spend money in the bank for which you will never get any benefit on it, these credit cards can be a good way to get something back for spending your own money anyway. So as long as you pay within the month, you are fine. And so once you spend, you continue to get points. Sometimes for every £100, you get £1, or even for £1,000, you get £10. I mean, some may say that, well, it's really not worth it if I'm going to spend £100 to get a pound. But hey, it's better than getting nothing because this is money you would spend anyway. And for these rewards credit cards, the rewards can come in several forms. Sometimes they are cash backed, sometimes they are airline rewards. Some may say that the points they get is minimal and so it's not worth it. Well, you may have a point, but it's better to spend £100 and get a pound bonus than get zero. I think one is greater than zero on any day. So, but you need to be careful about some of these credit cards, these reward ones, because sometimes they come with annual fees. So for holding that credit card, sometimes they charge you maybe £150 for a year. So sometimes you may never spend enough to earn 150 in a year. So you must be careful about these credit cards because even though they are reward credit cards, sometimes they come with annual fees. Some of them, of course, come with no annual fees. And that lists the kind of credit card that I use. I use the British Airways American Express credit card. It comes with no annual fees. And I mean, of course, that is why I use it. But beyond that, it's also because it comes with benefits. So because it's a British Airways credit card, whenever I spend my credit card, I earn points, what is known as RVUs. For those of you who fly British Airways, you'll notice that whenever you fly, they give you points, what is known as RVUs. And when you accrue up to a point, some maybe 10,000 or something, it comes with a discount whenever you're booking flights. In fact, British Airways has what they call the companion voucher scheme. So that assuming I have 10,000 RVUs and I'm booking with my partner, my wife, my friend, or I'm booking with someone, the person also automatically gets the 10,000 RVUs, but there are conditions to qualify for this. But I'll put a link to it so that you can follow it up. Somebody may say that, well, Shadrach, we are in COVID times, nobody's really flying, and I'm not going to use British Airways. So why do I have to, because British Airways is expensive. So why do I have to use the British Airways credit card? Well, there is a way to go about that. So even though it's a British Airways credit card and they reward you with RVUs, you can convert these RVUs points into Nectar points. And I'll put a link to how you can convert your RVUs points into Nectar points in the link below. So what I do is that I spend my British Airways credit card anyway. When I go to Asda or Lidl or whatever I want to buy, also because of the protection I get, I buy whatever I want to buy online or booking a flight or anything with my British Airways credit card. And when I accrue the RVUs, because nobody is flying around this time, I convert my Avios into Nectar points. And those of you who know anything about Nectar points, you can spend Nectar points on Argos, or you can spend it on eBay, Esso, Cafenero. Yeah, you know I like my Cafenero. You can spend on some of these shops, even Sainsbury's. So what I do is that I accrue my Avios points on the British Airways card, and then after a while, I convert them into Nectar points, and then I shop in Sainsbury or eBay or even Argos with it. So I think that this is a fantastic credit card because apart from collecting Avios, which I can choose to fly with, I could also convert it into Nectar points and spend on Argos, and that's exactly what I did. I built points for about a year, and I got lots of points, and I converted this into Nectar points, and I spent it on Argos. And in fact, I got my television for free on Argos because of that. In fact, beyond that, I also got a Hoover at a discounted price because I used my Nectar points to discount the price. So that's what you can also do. But that is not the only card that gives benefits. There are other American Express cards that give you points you can spend on Amazon. So depending on the shop you think you use the most, you can go for a card that helps you. And I'm going to put a link to how to get all these reward cards in the comment section below. But again, you must be mindful. Some of them come with annual fees, but this particular one that I use comes with no annual fees. And so a great way to make some points while spending anyway. The only disadvantage I would say with this card is that the interest rate is a bit higher, which is about 22% or about 20%, which is on the high side. But I've just explained to you that the kind of card you use depends on what you need it for. I need it for my points, and so I only spend it on purchases that I have money to spend on. So unlike others who need a credit card for the low interest rates, I really don't need a credit card for that purpose. I need it for my points. And so I make sure I buy what I have money to pay for. And since I started using it about 5 or more years ago, I've never had to pay an interest on it. Because unless I have money in the bank to spend, I don't use it for that. So whether it's buying a flight or buying a phone, I always use my credit card. But then I make sure I have the money in the bank, or I have money coming in within a month to pay it all off. Remember, you can pay the minimum fee, but if you use that, there will be an interest charged on the remainder. So you must be mindful how you use it. So that brings us to the end of my video, and I've just explained to you how I converted my Avios points into Nectar points to get a free TV. So if you think you found this helpful, or if you know other tips or other credit cards you can use the comment section to let me know your thoughts. There are other types of credit cards which I did not talk about, like the money transfer credit card or the overseas credit cards. If you want me to do a video on that too, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you, and I hope you found this helpful, and catch you again soon. If you have not seen my video on how to build your credit score, I'll put a link in the description box below. Thank you, and bye.